everyone has the capacity to be fucked up, i.e. me. So it's like, is someone just trying to like pork you and, you know, red flags exist even though you're in different cultures. Hi everyone, my name is Erica and I'm a little fucked up. Welcome back to my channel. So if you clicked on this video, you want to know my experiences on interracial dating and how that affected, you know, my life. And just so you know, I had a really good experience. I have no qualms, no like tea to spill. Actually, he did run off and get married, but that's another thing that I can talk about another day. So if you guys are interested in more content like this, please subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram at niceandairy21. And I also have a podcast with my best friend of many, many years. The podcast is called Unpacked Filth, where we dissect intersectionality between sexism and race with Black women. And in addition, we talk about sex lots and lots. It's really interesting because my relationship with my cross-cultural significant other was amazing. And like, I can't say anything bad about this person specifically. I feel like we vibe very well together. It's just, in the end, the culture is what tore us apart, in my opinion. I really love and care about this person, but we couldn't move to anything else besides what we were, just for the sake of his cultural obligation. From India, very cool dude. He and I had a lot of really good times. We went to concerts, we talked all night. He had some things that, you know, I will just never forget. And listen, date who you want, okay? Doesn't matter. You know, everybody everywhere deserves love. And here on this channel, we celebrate that and it's all good. So 10 things that you might need to know when you're considering like going into a long-term relationship with somebody. So this is different from like just meeting, casually dating, whatever. But when you actually find that you might have feelings for this person, what are the implications for you? Is culture a big deal to you? And so if you have asked that question, it might be, and that's okay. It doesn't make you like racist. I mean, it might, but it doesn't necessarily make you racist. It just makes you curious about where you would fit into their lives, because when you're trying to merge two people together in a loving, harmonious relationship, you might have some issues, and a lot of those issues are things that are intrinsic and ingrained in us, and one of those things is culture. The bare minimum, just love people for who they are. I'm going to tell you 10 tips that I wish I would have thought about before I engaged in the best 8 months of my life. And number one, you want to find out their intentions. Now, I know we're in the sphere of Tinder and whatever, people are meeting online and having like casual flings or whatever, but when you meet somebody online specifically, or even just in person at school, wherever, and you start to get to know them, maybe you go on a couple dates and, you know, you spend more time with them and it starts to move into some type of situation, you want to ask them point blank and period, like, what are their intentions with you? So we talk about in my podcast episode Unpacked Filth that a lot of people are just scared to just come out and say like, I just want to fuck. Honestly, it's unfortunate, because if people knew up front like what you wanted, maybe a lot of things would be clear and you can make informed decisions. How I operate, I assume that everybody who is meeting online just wants to fuck me. Okay, weird flex. To be clear, like, if you come into that mindset that everybody has intentions, that they're not looking for anything serious, then it'll, one, be a pleasant surprise, and two, they have to work to show you that they want something more from you, and they have to work to get that extra attention from you if they actually like you as a person. So that's how I do things. You don't have to do things the way I do it, but whatever. Yeah, and so when you find out what their intentions are, you can casually just say, we're spending a lot more time together. I, you know, feel like this is going in a positive direction. What are your intentions with this relationship? You don't have to say that you're in love with them. You don't have to say that you're pining after them or anything like that. Actually, please don't say that. Just reiterate, because you might have asked them when you first met, like, hey, what are you looking for? We're just gonna hang out, we're just looking for friends, whatever the fuck bullshit they're saying to you. But when you start to get to know these people, just say, hey, like, you know, I'm kind of feeling like we're spending a lot more time together, and that, you know, can lead to other things. So I just want to ask to make sure we're on the same page. Like, what are you looking for? Because if you're going on several dates with them and they clearly like you, maybe you're getting physical, whatever the case is, you know, just figure out those types of things. Number two is, are they trying to fetishize you? So specifically if you're a woman of color, and I've talked about it with a lot of my Asian friends, a lot of my Latinx friends, figure out very quickly, are you being fetishized? Like, is someone just trying to like pork you? And you know, how do you know if you're being fetishized? I'm not going to say that people are not free to explore certain kinks or anything like that. If their sexual energy towards you is kind of abnormal, I would look out for that, in the sense that they want to, like, you know, they're asking you like, do you want a threesome? Not that there's anything wrong with threesomes, or do you, and honestly, like, this can just be people who are jerks. Seriously, like, what's their sexual energy towards you? Like, are they like kind of treating you more like an object? Are they asking you, like, do you have friends? Comments about your features that are not like flattering, but more along the lines of like, oh, you're so like exotic. And it's just kind of weird. And you don't want to be seen as like an object with any type of significant other. But figure out if they're trying to fetishize you. What's their deal? Like, why are they with you? Do they have a track record of dating individuals like yourself? Some guys are into fetishizing women and like their accents and vice versa. Like, you just don't know what people's intentions are. Be careful is all I'm saying, because once feelings get involved and you realize that the person doesn't like you for you, it's really hard to detach yourself from people. I'm not trying to generalize people. Like, trust me, like, everyone has the capacity to be fucked up, i.e. me. So 3, know a little bit about their cultural traditions. So for me, one of the guys that I dated had a very specific religion. I was really into him, and he just had a nice smile. Like, he seemed really genuine, but he practiced this, I think it's called the Sikh. I'm not really sure how to pronounce it. I was looking into that culture, what they believe, like how they feel about women. Like, you just do like a little reconnaissance work to just figure out like where their morals and values lie. But like, how do you conceptually fit into their lives? Like, what are their religious practices? I know when I was dating the Hindu guy, he had certain time periods where he couldn't eat meat. Very mindful of the things that I would like cook if I was going to cook for him, or the places we would go. I tried my very best to avoid burger places, even though they sell chicken, but I just felt like it was weird to bring someone who doesn't eat beef to this beef place. So things like that. You want to know like what their Sabbaths or whatever their religion, traditions, the things that they do in their culture, and how they view marriage and relationships. Sometimes you can ask them, but sometimes you should do your own research just so you can have your own understanding, and then they can clarify if you have additional questions. Like, it's a job interview. Also, check in with your feelings. For me, this is very important because I had to check in with my feelings a lot in the relationship that I got out of, mainly because we went from something very casual to something that was a little bit more serious. So if you like someone, if you are falling for them, let them know, because you don't know where they're at in their mind space. And it's a lot easier, and I know it's very intimidating to just come out and tell somebody how you feel, because you don't want to feel like the loser in the situation. But listen, embarrass yourself one time in a small way. You save yourself from embarrassing yourself in a huge way. And again, you don't see her. Keep yourself from doing the emotional paperwork that, you know, is not conducive to what you need and that's healthy for you. Don't fake the funk to make other people feel better. And I'm hiding my dog because she keeps scratching. Ask yourself, do you care what people think? So this was really interesting for my relationship. I'm oblivious to most things. Like, I don't typically give a shit what people are doing next to me. The awful sense of being aware of my surroundings, essentially. And so when I went on our first date together, he would be like, do you notice that people are staring at us? And I would be like, oh no, I don't care. And for him, I was his first Black girl, and he just noticed that people were staring at us, and we were holding hands, and like we instantly had some type of connection. And like once every now and then when we were in public, he's like, oh, do you notice that people are staring at us, particularly those who shared his culture? So for me, it didn't bother me, but it obviously bothered him because he like asked me, did I notice? Does it bother you that it bothers them that they're seen with you? Does it? And if it does, then that's a red flag, which we'll talk about in the next couple ones. Number 6, don't assume. Don't assume anything about what they mean, what they say. Like, just ask for clarification. Americans can sometimes assume that everybody is aware of our culture. I did it a lot. I assumed that this person knew about Thanksgiving or, weird holidays, such as Memorial Day and 4th of July. Like, just don't assume that they know. I brought up Beyonce one time and I was like, yeah, Beyonce, blah, blah, blah. And he was just like, who? And I was like, you don't know who Beyonce is? And he didn't know. And that's ignorant on my part. But honestly, like, I've seen a lot of my friends do this as well with their significant others from different cultures, no matter what it is. Don't assume that they know about your culture because you don't know anything about their culture. It's vice versa. If they didn't grow up here, then they probably don't know. Okay? And when they don't know, don't make them feel dumb about it. Just be like, oh, I didn't know that you didn't know this. Well, this is our culture, blah, blah, blah. So pretty much just be mature, okay? Don't make them feel bad for not knowing, especially if you're in public around your friends. I don't think any of you guys would, but just be mindful that they're learning just like you are. Number 7, their culture is just as important to them as your culture is to you. So like I said, even if you're an American, even if you're black, white, whatever, Asian American, Latinx, whatever, their culture is just as important to them. It makes them who they are, how they grew up, the people that they surround, their language. Their culture is also important. So, even if you're not one of those people that are genuinely interested in the details of things, make it a point to ask questions, so they can share and feel included. It's like basic socialization, but sometimes we forget, especially when you're living here and your culture surrounds you, that they might be feeling homesick. They might be feeling like there might be something that's going on a day or a week in their culture that they're missing out on because they're either here or maybe not with their family or whatever the case may be. Just be mindful of their culture and the things that they are doing, and hopefully they will do the same for you. Number 8, ask for clarification and be clear. So I know I talked about not assuming, and this is a similar point, but almost. Ask for clarification when they say certain things. So my one example is the guy that I was seeing. I would say a sentence and it would confuse him because a lot of times, and this is not always true, but a lot of people who have dual language skills, they hear something in the language that they're trying to speak and they translate it into what their native languages and then try to respond back to it. And it happens like that. It's very quick. At least that's what my friends who are bilingual tell me. Like, sometimes you have to translate it in your head, in your brain first before you respond. So sometimes he'll say things like, oh, I don't get you. And for him, that's a thing of confusion, but it's not, in American English, if you say, I don't get you, like, it's like kind of a negative thing. And I was watching Rachel and June. I don't know if you know them, but they're a really interesting Japanese and American couple. But she was saying how sometimes June would say stuff and she would take it personally, and she didn't realize that she was taking it personally, but it's because it doesn't always translate well. Dude is like, I don't get you. Be like, oh, do you mean you didn't understand what I said? And a lot of times they'll say yes. Ask them, do they want you to correct them when they say something incorrect? So if I'm learning French and I say something not correct in French, I personally would want someone to correct me. But some people get embarrassed. So just say, hey, I noticed that you're trying to, improve your English skills. Is it okay that I correct you? Is that something that you want me to do? Be very polite. Always lead with empathy. They're learning your culture and your language, and you are also hopefully going to learn theirs. Number 9, this is a big one. Just because you come from different cultures doesn't mean red flags don't exist. Red flags exist even though you're in different cultures. Make sure that you are very clear in the communication, especially if there's a bilingual barrier. And also, actions speak louder than words. So a red flag is a red flag is a red flag. If someone who's from a different culture is a fuckboy or a fuck girl, believe them. Like, if they're treating you terribly, if they say something rude, you can say, hey, that was kind of rude that you said, and they keep doing it, then that's a reflection of their character, not necessarily their culture. So I would say, if you're in a cross-cultural relationship, okay, don't get caught up in the guy. I'm talking about the guy that I was into. He was so hot to me. So they say something messed up to you that you don't like, let them know. First, be nice about it. And then if you have to continuously be mean about it, then maybe that this is, like I said, a character flaw. Number 10. This is a huge one. If you're dating someone, it means that you like them. If you're dating them seriously and they're your boyfriend, believe it or not, whatever you feel about serious relationships and commitment, if you're with somebody for a long period of time, you are potentially dating to have them become your partner for an extended amount of time, up to or until marriage. So when you guys are navigating the relationship and you've had the conversation of like what their intentions are, how they view committed relationships, what's their cultural blah 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 in these relationships, allow each other, especially them, if you're trying to be more empathetic, allow them to take their time, especially if you're dealing with people who are away from their home country and here in a new country. So specifically someone from outside of America here, or if you're in a different country from America, whatever. Allow them the time and the grace to deconstruct their ideas of what they thought their relationship was going to be, like who they thought they were going to be with. Allow them to take their time and the seriousness with you. Don't expect too much about like meeting their parents or speaking to them. Let them take their time. Now, that's also not to say if you feel like they're ashamed of you, which is a whole other conversation and that's a whole other video, then that's different. But if someone's like trying to take it slow and they're just like, well, unsure the next steps and how to like navigate with integrating you into their family and their culture, give it some time. Don't force them. And like I said, they're, coming into your world just like you're coming into theirs. So to expect them to all of a sudden become serious and like you're the love of their life and they want you to meet their mom and meet their grandmother and blah, blah, blah. If they're not ready for that, let that be okay. Let it be fine. Red flags are a red flag. If you feel like they're dragging you along and that's what your intuition is telling you, then that might be something true. But literally, girl, guy, whoever, treat it as a normal relationship. The only difference in cross-cultural relationships is the fact that, you just have different backgrounds. You might eat different food, have a different religion, but people are still people. So treat them accordingly. That's all I have. It was really fun to deconstruct my relationships, and don't mind this wig. I'm like really digging it just because it's like big and poofy and like just kind of giving me a vibe, but I don't know, I might go change it to something different. So as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe. Comment down below if you've ever been into a relationship that's cross-cultural, cross-racial as well, maybe. I don't know. Like I said, follow me on all my social media, which I'll link down below. Got my podcast, Unpacked Filth, new episodes every Friday. And I'll see you guys later. Thanks. Bye.